Welcome back students to our online platform, that is our school's YouTube channel. So again we are ready with today's video. This video is for class 9th and the subject is science, and we are dealing with the physics portion, which is chapter number 9, and the name of the chapter is force and laws of motion. As yesterday I told you the definition of force. Force is a push or pull which can create the change by many ways. First, it can change the shape. Second, it can change the direction of the motion. Third, it can change the state of motion. Whether if the object is already in the motion, then it can bring that object at rest, or if any object is at rest, then when a force is applied, it can set that object into motion. At the same time, we should discuss some more things related to force. Force is a vector quantity. What are the vector quantities? Vector quantities are those quantities having magnitude as well as direction. What is the magnitude? Magnitude is the numeric value, and direction is in which direction the force is applied. When we are saying that the 8 Newton force is applied towards east, or 10 Newton force is applied towards west, so the force is having the direction as well. That's why the force is a vector quantity. At the same time, if the question comes define force, so first of all we are supposed to write the definition, plus we are supposed to tell whether it is a scalar quantity or vector quantity. Of course it is a vector quantity having the direction as well. At the same time, we are supposed to tell the SI unit, means the unit which is accepted all over the world for the force. So the SI unit of force is Newton, which is represented by, or which is denoted by, the capital letter N. At the same time, we have also discussed the first law of motion, that is also known as the law of inertia. Inertia, I told you, inertia is the inability of an object to change its position by its own. Neither of the object can change its position by its own. If the car is there parked in the parking, so it will not change its position until the external force is applied. External force by two ways we can apply. One, by igniting the engine, or by starting the engine, and we can move in the forward direction or the backward direction, and the position will be changed. Or if some people used to push it from the back side or push it from the front side, then the position can be changed. So according to the first law of motion and inertia is the inability of an object to change its position by its own. So first law of motion is also known as law of inertia. What is the statement for that? That an object at rest will remain at rest, an object in motion will remain in motion until or unless an external force is applied on it. Yesterday I gave you the example, if we keep one book on the table, then book will stay there only until or unless someone is picking that book up, or until or unless anyone is applying force to displace that book will remain there only. So if no external force is there, so the state of the motion of the object cannot be changed, means an object at rest will remain at rest, or if an object is in motion, it will remain in motion. That was the first law. So we will discuss the second law, but before discussing the second law, we should know some of the things. First one is momentum, and then we are supposed to discuss the impulse also at the same time. So the momentum is, in some of the books you will find momentum is denoted by P is equals to mv. In some of the books it is written that momentum is the product of mass and velocity. That is okay, numerically that is correct, but that we cannot call that is a definition. Definition should be in the language. So according to me, the momentum is the amount of motion contained in an object. The definition of momentum is the amount of motion contained in an object is called momentum. It is also a vector quantity. It is also having a direction as well as magnitude. It is denoted by P. P is equals to m into V, where m is the mass, V is the velocity, and the SI unit of momentum, we can there is no need to cram that up. We are not supposed to by heart that. If we know the formula, we can find out the SI unit. SI unit of mass is kilogram. Kilogram. SI unit of velocity is meter per second or meter second minus 1. Both are right. We can write like this or kilogram meter per second. Both are right. So, this is the SI unit of momentum, and the definition of momentum is the amount of motion contained in an object. This word momentum you can often listen when you are watching the matches, especially the cricket matches. You can see that the commentators are saying that the Yuvraj now got the momentum, means he is in the motion, means now he is scoring the runs frequently. The amount of motion contained in that particular player is now there. So, momentum is the amount of motion contained in that very object. Mathematical formula, I told you, P is equals to mv. You can also write the definition as written in many of the books, that momentum is the product of mass and velocity. At the same time, you are supposed to tell that momentum is a vector quantity and the SI unit of the momentum is kilogram meter per second. Now, the impulse. Impulse is change in momentum. Change in momentum. Now, one more SI unit is there. I will tell you later on what can be the SI unit of momentum. One more is there. One is that kilogram meter per second, and the second one I will tell you after some time. So, impulse is change in momentum. Change in momentum means it is denoted by J. By J. So, J can be written as final momentum minus initial momentum. J can be written as final momentum means mass into final velocity. Initial momentum means mass into initial velocity, means mv minus mu. J is equals to mv minus mu, means change in the momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum. So, impulse, the SI unit will be same, because that is the difference of momentum only. So, the units will be same, that is kilogram meter per second. So, this is momentum and this is the impulse. Now, we will discuss the second law of motion, which is based on impulse and momentum, and this is the important one, second law out of all these three laws. The second law of motion. Is states that the rate of change of momentum, not the change in momentum, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Means, what does it mean? It means that force F is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum, means mv minus mu is the change in momentum divided by t, it becomes rate of change of momentum. Further, if we want to solve that, then F is directly proportional to m is taken common and v minus u upon t. and you are supposed now you should recall that v minus u upon t is rate of change of velocity. V minus u upon t is a, m into a. A is the acceleration here, because acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. This one is a. So f is directly proportional to ma. Now we cannot have the directly proportionality sign. We are supposed to convert that into the equals to sign to make it a equation. So f equals to k m a, where k is the constant. K is the constant and k is equals to 1. So we should adjust the SI units like that, so that the value of k is 1. So at last we got f is equals to m a, that is the required equation from the second law. Means the first statement is rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Second statement we can get from this equation, that the acceleration produced in an object is directly proportional to the force applied. Again I am repeating, acceleration produced in an object is directly proportional to the force applied. For example, one football is there, I kicked that football, means I applied the force, slowly, so the ball will travel slowly. And if I kick in a hard manner, means applying the more force, then it will move faster. Means the acceleration, whether it is moving slowly or with a fast velocity, that is means acceleration is there. With fast velocity means acceleration is more, because at initially it was at rest. So how much force I will apply on any object, or in example that football, how much force we are supposed to apply, the ball will move with that much of the acceleration as compared to the force. So the second statement is that the acceleration produced in an object is directly proportional to the force applied. If more force is there, so acceleration will be more. If less force is there, the acceleration will be less. So now we got two statements of the second law of motion. Which one you feels easier, you can use that. At the same time, we are supposed to verify the first law of motion using the second law. So that second law is here, F is equals to ma, means F is equals to m v minus u upon t, or from here we can write F is equals to mv minus mu, and t we can cross multiply here, means Ft is equals to mv minus mu. So if the force is 0, if force applied is 0, then this will become 0 and mv minus mu will become 0. From here we can say mv is equals to mu. From here you can cancel out m, so you will find v is equals to u. If no force is applied, then initial velocity will be equals to final velocity. If an object is moving with the velocity 5 meter per second, then it will move 5 meter per second if no force is applied. If the object is at rest, means u is 0, then v will also be 0 if f is 0. So using the second law, we can also verify the first law of motion. These, according to me, this chapter is very interesting and you should go through the chapter. At the same time, you will enjoy the chapter in one case only, if your basics are clear. So if you are having any doubt, then you are supposed to message us, or you can even call us, so that we can rectify your doubt, so that you should also enjoy the chapter, because this is very important chapter for this year also, for the next year also, for 11th, 12th as well. So you should proceed the question you should proceed this chapter in a proper manner. At the same time, you should clear your doubts. How you can clear your doubt? If you are having any doubt, then you are supposed to convey the message to us. We will try to rectify by any of the means, by making a phone call or by making a new video, so that you can easily understand the basics of this chapter. Tomorrow we will discuss the more terms, and at the same time we will discuss the third law of motion also, and afterwards we will discuss some of the practical problems, and then the in-text questions and also the questions given in the form of exercise at the end of the chapter. I hope that you will read the book also. You should read the chapter from your book, and if you observe that any of the term has been skipped, then you can inform us. We will include that term also in our discussion. Thank you very much.